This video is going to give you an overview of how you can navigate within Google Classroom. To start, you can collapse or show this left menu by clicking on the pancakes icon in the upper left corner. You can hide it to have a little bit more real estate, or you can click on it to show the left-hand navigation. The left navigation allows you to access different components of Google Classroom. You always have the home option. You can go to a Google Calendar section, Google Calendar for all of your classes, or you can hop to a specific class. You have a resources section. We'll come back and talk about this briefly later. You can also access the education version of Gemini to get some AI guidance in Google Classroom as well. You have a section with the different classes that you're teaching. Some people will use one course and they'll use topics for the different sections. Other people will have a different course for each subject. That's completely up to you. And finally, you'll have a section as well for different classes that you're enrolled in as a student. Also in Google Classroom, you have a few different options for settings. If you scroll down on this left navigation, you'll see settings, and those are for your Google Classroom account as a whole. Otherwise, in the upper right corner, you also have settings, and these are settings for this specific class. Here you have the stream. The stream is going to show recent updates such as assignments and announcements for your class. Up here at the top, you have some different navigation as well. You have a classwork page, and that's where you can go to see the different work that you've assigned. You can head here to create a new assignment, and you can add topics for organization of the classwork page. The people page is where you can go to see your class roster. In the Oshkosh Area School District, your students will automatically be synced with your class. New students might take 2 days to show up as they'll sync from Infinite Campus to ClassLink on one night, and then they'll sync from ClassLink to Google Classroom on the next night. You also have a grades tab. Again, with the grades in the Oshkosh Area School District, our grades are done in Infinite Campus, so this probably wouldn't be used much. Perhaps you could add some grades into the student work just to give students some instant feedback on how they're doing. But in the end, the grades would be entered into Infinite Campus. You'll also see at the top here, there's some different icons for Google Calendar and Google Drive. When you create a course or when you accept a class, if it's created for you by the district, it's automatically going to create a Google Calendar for that class, and it's going to create a Google Drive folder for that class. If you click on this Google Calendar link or the Google Drive link, it's going to take you right to those resources. In this section of the class, you'll see a quick links button. You can add quick links, which might be resources that students would access often. They'd then be stored right here so the students can easily access those links. You also have this resources section here in the upper left corner on the left navigation. Resources gives you a few options to add practice sets. Think like a digital worksheet or a new video activity. You can add questions that are interactive to a YouTube video and then have those be an assignment for your students. These are housed separately in this resources section, so that way you could create them once and then use them multiple times or from one school year to a next, as opposed to having them housed within your Google Classroom course. If you have a quick announcement for your class, you can click right here on the stream to make an announcement to your class. And finally, you can also customize the appearance of your Google Classroom course. If you click this Customize button, you could upload a custom photo that you've created in Canva or Google Drawings, for example. You could select a stock photo that's available here within Google Classroom. And you can also change the theme color as to how you want your course to appear. That's a brief tour of Google Classroom. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks, and have a great day. The left navigation allows you To access different components of Google Classroom, you always have the home option. You can go to a Google Calendar section, Google Calendar for all of your classes, or you can hop to a specific class. You have a resources section. We'll come back and talk about this briefly later. You can also access the education version of Gemini to get some AI guidance in Google Classroom as well. You have a section with the different classes that you're teaching. Some people will use one course and they'll use topics for the different sections. Other people will have a different course for each subject. That's completely up to you. And finally, you'll have a section as well for different classes that you're enrolled in as a student.